Hey guys, so we have finally turned the page on this Subaru STI. So what I'm gonna do now that everything is cleaned up, we're gonna first install the headliner and try to get as much interior in as we can today, but that is the goal. Start reassembly of the interior. After that we'll do some engine work, and after that this car is ready for the body shop. So let's get that interior in now. Okay guys, headliner's in. I'm not sure of the best way to get it in there. I did crease it a little bit getting in there. I'm not sure if it should go in through the trunk. I guess ideally it would go in through the back window before they install it at the factory. But now I'm going to connect and route all the wires and tape them to the top of the headliner, and then we'll get it all connected. If you don't have to take your headliner out, don't do it. I'm gonna put the handles back on the headliner and the trim, and that should be holding it in place now. Alright guys, so I'll do the other side. I did crease this headliner a little bit. I'm gonna just treat it with a little bit of steam, and that should get the crease out. Then we'll move on to the seat belts. Alright, so our seatbelt's in place. Last but not least, don't forget to plug in your connector. Now we can cut the tension, the zip tie I put here to keep tension on the seatbelt. I'm gonna have to clean them again, they're still dirty. Now let's move on to the passenger side. Alright guys, well, if you saw, I had snapped the head off of one of these bolts. Lucky for me, I have some spare ones, but I just had to drill the old one out, and luckily the threads were not all messed up. So let's get back to putting in this seat belt on this side. But be careful with if you're using an impact. A lot of these bolts are kind of weak, to say the least. So don't go crazy running them in full speed. Just get them tight enough where they will hold. Otherwise, you might snap it, like me. remember this is a 2-stage seatbelt, so this cylinder has like a small slot that this can slide into, and you'll line up your other bolt down here on the bottom. Don't cross thread it, just take your time. Alright, so this, remember, we have 2 electrical connectors, one up here and then one down here. Next up is the rear deck lid. We'll get this installed nice with the 3rd brake light. It's all nice and clean. Rear deck lid is in place. Line up the rear tab first and smack it in place, and then move on to this one, and this one. That's the best way to get these back on and in line properly. You don't want to damage your defroster. Your wire connectors are right there for your rear defrost, and you don't want to mess up your airbag, your curtain airbags. So just like I said, do this one first all the way in the back, and then follow along this line to get them all in place. Let me do the other side. Oh, and one last thing, don't forget to reconnect your 3rd brake light. There you go. Everything has to go back in a certain order, like a jigsaw puzzle. So obviously this cannot go in if this is installed already, so that has to come back out. These come in handy for when these little mounting tabs get stuck. Pair of these pliers. I'll see if I can link those in the video description for you guys. That goes here. Alright, we're doing it. We're making progress. Carpet's going in now. So if you're going to use a hard brush like I did to clean the carpet, just realize that it's going to pull the fibers a little bit and make the carpet a little fluffy. We're going to cover it with obviously the floor mats, so that'll get rid of this fluffiness. Last time you guys sat in here, it was much filthier place, so wow. It's very exciting to see it come together. Alright guys, so next up it's time to get these rear seats in. Now that's exciting. It's been a long time since these seats have come out, and they've come a long way. So let me get them and we'll get the seat backs in first. Oh God. Well guys, this is certainly a milestone. I am so excited. This is coming out beautifully. I cannot believe the transformation of this interior. This was so nasty. If you saw the earlier videos, it does need a little bit more cleaning. It was sitting in my basement for a while, but wow, this is miles away from where it was. And I wish you guys could join me, because this is the nicest interior I've ever had in a car, and to bring it back to life just feels so good. So far looking good, looking like an STI. So the fuse, this guy had this mystery wiring which was connected to a camera in the back seat. So according to the fuse panel, this was plugged into this spot, which requires a 15 amp fuse. So we'll remove this 15 amp fuse from here. I'm not sure we will even need this 15 amp fuse because it does say it's for fog lights, but this car doesn't have any fog lights, so I don't think we'll even need it. But just to close this circuit, we'll put it back there if you're curious to see. So the bottom 3 rows, 15, 15, 15 empty, then 3 7.5s, that's what we got. 7.5, 15 amp, 10 amp empty, 7.5, 10, 10. And I'm just going to check over everything else, but that's how you would really check over your fuse panel here. It's pretty self-explanatory. Interior looks great. It's starting to look like a car again. I'm gonna leave the door cards off for now because when this car gets to the body shop, we may have to take the doors off because on this side there is some damage to the door, and so it's just easier to paint it off the car. But the real issue is this door. This door does not close all the way, and what I assume is that the previous owner must have tied something to the roof, and they shoved the rope through to the other side of the car, through here, and when they closed the door, that bent this door out a little bit. I originally thought it was from the accident, but I don't think so anymore. So I'm going to start this thing up, back it into its home, see how it feels. I know there's no radiator yet. We still got engine work to do, but I just can't resist starting it up and backing it up over here. So next up, guys, we're going to be going to the engine, changing the timing belt, the water pump, all these other belts here, accessory belt, AC belt, give the engine bay a nice refresh, and then this car can finally go to the body shop to start repairing this damage and get this thing back on the road. But wow, we really turned a page in this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, smash that like button, and I appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button so you could follow more on this rebuild of my Subaru STI. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.